The emergency lights flickered across the council chamber walls as representatives from 40 different species argued over humanity's application. Voices rose and fell in a dozen languages, while translation devices struggled to keep pace. Ambassador David Reed sat alone in the human delegation section, his hands folded calmly on the smooth metal table before him. Around him, beings of scales, fur, and chitin debated whether his species deserved a seat among the stars. High Arbiter Kelnoth raised one clawed hand for silence. The Draventhi leader's golden eyes swept across the chamber before settling on Reed. Ambassador, your species has mastered fusion drives and basic energy shields. Impressive for primitives, but hardly sufficient for full council membership. Reed stood slowly, his plain gray suit a stark contrast to the elaborate robes and armor worn by other delegates. High Arbiter, we understand your concerns. Humanity asks only for the opportunity to prove ourselves worthy. A harsh laugh echoed from the Krell section. Commander Drath, his massive frame covered in thick battle armor, leaned forward. Prove yourselves. Your entire fleet would not survive one engagement with any established military power. The Krell Dominion alone fields 5,000 warships. How many vessels can Earth deploy? 200, 300. Our exact military capacity is classified, Reed replied evenly. But we are prepared to demonstrate our defensive capabilities as required by Council law. Science Director Tilmara clicked her mandibles together, the Orosian gesture for curiosity. Ambassador Reed, our sensor sweeps of human space show technology roughly equivalent to what the Filgrin Commonwealth possessed 400 years ago. No offense intended, but you are clearly outmatched by current galactic standards. None taken, Director. Appearances can be deceiving. Military Coordinator Bruce made a gurgling sound that his translator rendered as dismissive laughter. The amphibious Filgrin gestured with one webbed hand toward a holographic display showing human vessels. These ships use primitive chemical thrusters for maneuvering. Your weapons are kinetic railguns and early plasma cannons. Your shields barely stop micrometeorites. What could you possibly show us that would change our assessment? Reed reached into his jacket pocket and withdrew a small data chip. He placed it on the table and slid it toward the center of the chamber. With your permission, High Arbiter, I would like to upload coordinates for our demonstration. Kelnoth nodded to a technician, who retrieved the chip and inserted it into the main system. Numbers appeared on the central display. These coordinates are in human-controlled space, the colony world meridian if our charts are accurate. Correct. We propose to conduct our demonstration there in 72 hours. Any council members who wish to observe are welcome at this station's location. We will broadcast the entire event on standard channels. Drath stood, his armor plates clanking. You expect us to wait 3 days while you prepare some pathetic display. The Krell have better uses for our time. Then don't attend, Reed said simply, but I suspect you'll regret missing it. The Krell commander's eyes narrowed. Perhaps the Krell fleet will conduct training exercises near Meridian during that time, to ensure your demonstration is properly tested. A ripple of concern passed through the chamber. Tilmara's antennae twitched nervously. Commander Drath, that borders on a threat of violence against a potential council member. Such actions are forbidden. Training exercises are not violence, Drath replied with a predatory smile. If the humans happen to be conducting their demonstration in the same region, that is merely coincidence, unless they are too frightened to proceed. Reed met the Krell commander's gaze without flinching. We welcome any observers, including the Krell fleet. I'm confident you'll find our demonstration educational. Kelnoth studied Reed for a long moment. Very well. 72 hours from now, we will observe this demonstration. But I warn you, Ambassador, if your species wastes the Council's time with theatrics, your application will be denied permanently. Understood, High Arbiter. Thank you for this opportunity. The session ended and delegates began filing out of the chamber. Reed remained seated, watching them go. Tilmara approached him cautiously, her multiple limbs moving in the careful manner her species used to show peaceful intent. "Ambassador, I must speak with you privately." Reed nodded and followed her to a smaller observation room overlooking the vast star field beyond the station. Once the door sealed behind them, Tilmara's formal posture relaxed slightly. "Commander Drath is not bluffing," she said quietly. "Krell battle groups are already moving toward your space. They plan to use your demonstration as cover for an attack. If your colony cannot defend itself, they will claim it was all part of the training exercise. A terrible accident. I appreciate the warning, Director. Is there nothing more you can do? Can Earth send reinforcements to Meridian?" Reed smiled, a gesture Tilmara had learned meant humans were pleased about something. "Reinforcements are already en route. But tell me, Director, in all your scientific studies, have you ever encountered technology that seemed impossible?" "Many times. That is the nature of discovery. We learn something new and realize how little we truly understood." "Exactly. The Council assessed our capabilities based on what your sensors could detect, but humanity has been in space for a shorter time than most species. We had to innovate differently, find advantages where we could." Tilmara's antennae quivered. "You are saying Earth has hidden technology, but why? The Council values honesty." "We value survival," Reed replied. "When you're the newcomer, you don't show all your cards until you know who your friends are. The Krell just proved we were right to be cautious." "What will happen at Meridian?" Reed turned to gaze out at the stars. Somewhere out there, beyond the view from this station, his homeworld orbited its yellow sun. Somewhere else, much farther away, a ship unlike any other was cutting through space at speeds the Council believed impossible. 72 hours from now, Director, the galaxy is going to learn that humanity is not as primitive as everyone assumed. I hope you'll be there to witness it." "I will be," Tilmara promised. "And I hope, for your species' sake, that you are not overestimating your capabilities. The Krell show no mercy to those who embarrass them." After she left, Reed activated his personal communicator. The signal was encrypted with protocols no galactic species had ever seen. It took only seconds for the response to arrive. "Earth Command receiving. Status Ambassador. The trap is set. Krell are taking the bait. Estimated 50 warships inbound to Meridian." A pause then. "Prometheus confirms receipt. Captain Grant sends her regards. ETA to demonstration coordinates, 70 hours." Reed closed the connection and allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. They had spent 50 years preparing for this moment. 50 years of careful deception, showing the galaxy exactly what they expected to see while hiding the truth. Soon, very soon, everything would change. He pressed his palm against the cold window and whispered to the stars, "Time to show them what humanity really is." 50 years earlier, a small research vessel had detected an anomaly drifting near Jupiter's orbit. The object was roughly spherical, about the size of a city bus, and composed of materials that should not exist according to known physics. Dr. Rachel Foster remembered that day perfectly. She had been a young graduate student then, barely 30 years old, convinced she would spend her life studying asteroids and comets. The probe changed everything. Military transports had arrived within hours, sealing off the discovery site. General Thomas Lane took control of the operation immediately. Foster found herself transferred to a facility she had never heard of, signing documents that promised life imprisonment if she ever spoke about what she was about to see. The probe was beautiful. Its surface shifted between colors that had no names, reflecting light in patterns that hurt to watch for too long. When their instruments finally penetrated its outer shell, they found technology so advanced it might as well have been magic. "We cannot let the world know about this," Lane had told the assembled team of scientists and engineers. If other nations discover what we have found, there will be war. If we reveal it too soon, we lose our only advantage. Engineer Peter Walsh, a practical man who preferred building things to theorizing about them, had raised the obvious question. Advantage against what? We don't even know if there are aliens out there. Lane had pulled up classified files then, showing radar tracks and sensor data collected over decades. Evidence of ships passing through Earth's solar system, always distant, always watching. They're out there. They know about us. And when we finally meet them, I want humanity to have something other than nuclear weapons and good intentions. The team worked in secret for years. They discovered the probe belonged to a civilization that had vanished long before humans existed. The technology operated on principles that rewrote physics textbooks. Space and time could be manipulated, folded, compressed. Energy could be drawn from dimensions humanity did not even have mathematics to describe. Foster led the theoretical work. Walsh turned theories into reality. Slowly, painfully, they learned. After 15 years, they built their first quantum-fold drive. It was the size of a warehouse and required enough power to run a small city. The test nearly destroyed the facility when the prototype generated a space-time distortion that aged everything within 50 meters by 300 years in a single second. They found a mouse cage in the test chamber afterward. Inside were the bones of mice that had died of old age in moments. "We need better containment," Walsh had said, staring at those tiny skeletons. They tried again and again. Each failure taught them something new. Each success opened new possibilities. By year 20, they had a working drive small enough to fit in a spacecraft. By year 30, they had weapons that could punch through any material known to science. By year 40, they had defensive systems that could bend space itself. And then Lane made the decision that would define humanity's future. "We build one ship," he announced to the team. "Not a fleet. One vessel using everything we have learned. We make it perfect, and we hide it." "Why only one?" Foster had asked. "Because the moment we build a second, someone notices. Resources disappear. People ask questions. Secrets leak. One ship we can hide. One ship can be explained as a deep space research vessel if anyone asks. But one ship with this technology is worth more than 1,000 conventional warships." They built it beyond Neptune, in the cold darkness where no satellites watched. The construction took 10 years. Workers were told they were building a mining station. Only the core team knew the truth. They named it Prometheus, after the Greek titan who gave fire to humanity. It seemed appropriate for a ship that would bring humanity to the stars as equals rather than victims. Captain Laura Grant was chosen to command it. She had been a fighter pilot, then an astronaut, then a military strategist. But she was also a physicist, someone who understood the ship she would fly. Lane gave her one order above all others. "Do not reveal this ship unless humanity's survival depends on it. Not for politics, not for glory, only for survival." Grant had accepted that responsibility. For 5 years, she and her crew had remained hidden, conducting tests in deep space, learning the ship's capabilities. They could cross the solar system in minutes. They could destroy a mountain with a single shot. They could make their ship invisible to every known form of detection. And they waited. Back in the present, Reed received another message on his encrypted channel. This one came directly from Foster, now elderly but still brilliant. "The probe's database is decrypting faster than anticipated. We have discovered something. The probe was not alone. There are others scattered across the galaxy. Each contains more technology, more knowledge. The civilization that built them left them as gifts for whoever might find them. But David, there is a warning encoded in the data. The civilization fell because they shared their technology too freely. Other species used it to destroy each other. They left these probes, hoping the next intelligent species would be wiser." Reed read the message 3 times. The implications were staggering. If the Council learned about other probes, there would be a race to find them. Species would go to war over the locations. The very technology meant to help would become a source of conflict. "Delete this message from the main servers," Reed typed back. "Tell only Lane and Grant. We reveal the Prometheus but not the source of its technology. Not yet. Humanity needs to prove we can be trusted with this power before we tell anyone there is more." He closed the communicator and looked out at the Council station. All these species, so confident in their technology and their place in the galaxy. They had no idea that everything was about to change. Not just because of one human warship, but because humanity had found something older and more powerful than anyone could imagine. And humanity had to decide what to do with that knowledge. Reed thought about the warning from the extinct civilization. They had shared their gifts freely and destroyed themselves. Humanity had been given a second chance to get it right. The question was whether they were wise enough to learn from someone else's mistakes. In 70 hours, the first test would come, not just of the Prometheus but of humanity's character. The galaxy was watching, even if they did not know it yet. The observation deck of the Council station held representatives from 30 species, all gathered to watch humanity's demonstration. Tilmara stood near the front, her multiple eyes focused on the massive holographic display showing the space around Meridian Colony. The human settlement appeared peaceful, unaware of what was about to happen. 50 Krell warships moved into position around the planet. Each vessel stretched 2 kilometers from bow to stern, bristling with plasma cannons and missile ports. Commander Drath stood in his own observation area, arms crossed, clearly expecting an easy victory. "The humans have evacuated their colony," one of the technicians reported. "All civilians are in underground shelters." "Cowards," Drath muttered. "They know they cannot win." Reed stood quietly in the back of the room, checking the time. 3 minutes until Prometheus arrived. The Krell fleet had already begun powering up weapons systems, claiming they needed to test firing solutions. Everyone knew what was really happening. This was an invasion disguised as a training exercise. Kelnoth spoke from his elevated platform. "Ambassador Reed, where is this demonstration vessel you promised? My patience grows thin." "It will be here shortly, High Arbiter. We needed to ensure all civilians were clear of the combat zone." "Combat zone," Drath laughed. "Your people run and hide while we approach. This is no combat, this is surrender." Reed said nothing. He simply watched the chronometer on his wrist count down. 2 minutes, 1 minute, 30 seconds. Space near Meridian suddenly twisted. It was not like the normal distortion of ships exiting faster than light travel. This was different, wrong somehow, as if reality itself was being bent by invisible hands. Every sensor on the station screamed warnings as readings went off the scale. Something emerged from the distortion. The ship that appeared was unlike anything in the galactic database. 3 kilometers of midnight black hull, so dark it seemed to absorb light itself. No visible weapons, no glowing engines, no windows or markings except for a single designation near the bow, UESN Prometheus. The observation deck fell silent. "What is that?" someone whispered. Tilmara's instruments flickered and sparked. "I cannot get a clear reading. The hull is interfering with all active scans. It is like the ship is not entirely in normal space." Bruce leaned forward, his webbed hands gripping the railing. "That cannot be human. They do not have technology for ships of that size." "That is our demonstration vessel," Reed said calmly. On the display, the Krell fleet reacted to the new arrival. Drath's voice came through on the public channel. "Unknown vessel, identify yourself immediately or you will be fired upon." The response came in a clear, human voice. "This is Captain Laura Grant of the Earth United Space Navy vessel Prometheus. We are here at the invitation of the Galactic Council to demonstrate human defensive capabilities. Please hold your positions." "That ship is not on any registry," Drath snarled. "This is a violation of Council space. All vessels open fire." 50 Krell warships turned their weapons on Prometheus and fired simultaneously. Plasma bolts, missiles, and kinetic rounds filled the space between the fleets. It was enough firepower to reduce a moon to rubble. Prometheus did not move, did not dodge, did not return fire. The weapons reached the dark ship and simply stopped. Space around Prometheus warped and twisted. Plasma bolts curved away, missing by meters despite perfect targeting solutions. Missiles detonated prematurely as their guidance systems failed. Kinetic rounds slowed to a stop in midair, suspended by forces that should not exist, then drifted harmlessly away. Not a single shot touched the hull. "Impossible," Bruce breathed. Drath screamed orders at his fleet. "Full barrage, maximum power, destroy that ship." The Krell intensified their attack. Every weapon fired at once, a storm of destruction that should have obliterated anything in its path. Prometheus sat in the center of the maelstrom, untouched. The space-time distortion around it grew stronger, visible now as a shimmer in the air like heat waves on a summer day. Then Prometheus moved. The ship accelerated instantly, no gradual buildup of speed. One moment stationary, the next moment racing toward the Krell fleet at velocities that made no sense. It covered the distance in seconds, weaving between warships with precision that seemed impossible for something so large. Thin beams of blue-white light lanced out from the Prometheus. The beams were barely visible, more like cuts in reality than actual weapons. Each beam touched a Krell warship for less than a second. 10 Krell vessels went dark immediately. No explosions, no fires. Every system simply stopped working. The massive warships drifted helplessly, their crews unharmed but stranded in dead metal shells. "Target their engines," Grant's voice announced calmly. "Disable, do not destroy. Repeat, disable only." More beams flashed. More Krell ships went dark. 20 disabled. 30. The remaining vessels scattered, trying to retreat, but Prometheus moved faster than their targeting computers could track. Within 90 seconds, the entire Krell fleet was neutralized. 50 warships drifted in space, powerless, their crews alive but defeated without a single casualty on either side. Prometheus stopped in the center of the disabled fleet. Grant's voice filled the communication channels. "Krell vessels, your ships are intact. Your crews are unharmed. We will transmit instructions for emergency power restoration to each vessel. You will be able to return home safely at conventional speeds. This demonstration is complete." The observation deck remained frozen in shock. Finally, Kelnoth found his voice. "What? What did we just witness?" Reed stepped forward. "You witnessed humanity's answer to your question about our defensive capabilities. The Prometheus is equipped with technology that allows faster-than-light travel without conventional warp drives, defensive systems that manipulate local spacetime, and weapons that can disable any target with surgical precision. We chose to build one ship, not a fleet, because we value peace over conquest." "Where did you get this technology?" Tilmara asked, her voice shaking. "We developed it ourselves over the past 50 years. The details are classified, but I assure you, it is human innovation." Drath's voice crackled over the speakers. "This is not over, humans. The Krell Dominion will not forget this humiliation." "Commander Drath," Grant replied, "you attacked first. We merely defended ourselves. I hope this teaches you the value of restraint." The Krell channel went silent. Kelnoth looked at Reed with new eyes. Fear and respect mixed in his expression. "Ambassador, we need to discuss humanity's application immediately. The Council must reconvene." Reed nodded. "Of course, High Arbiter, but first perhaps we should ensure the Krell fleet gets home safely. Humanity bears them no ill will." As technicians began coordinating the rescue of the disabled Krell ships, Tilmara approached Reed quietly. "You have changed everything," she whispered. "The balance of power in the galaxy just shifted. Species will either fear you or seek alliance with you. There is no middle ground now." Reed watched the Prometheus on the display, the dark ship holding position among its defeated enemies. "Then we will have to prove we deserve their trust, not their fear." Within hours of the demonstration, every major government in the galaxy had convened emergency sessions. Intelligence agencies scrambled to reassess Earth's threat level. Military strategists recalculated defense plans that now seemed worthless. Economic analysts predicted market crashes as industries built around conventional weapon systems faced obsolescence. Reed sat in his quarters aboard the Council station, watching news feeds from a dozen different species. The reactions varied wildly. Some praised humanity's restraint in not destroying the Krell fleet. Others demanded immediate action to contain the human threat. Fear and opportunity mixed in equal measure across the galactic community. A message arrived on his secure channel. It came from someone unexpected, Administrator Vorn of the Vrenix Consortium. The Vrenix controlled most of the galaxy's manufacturing and trade networks. They were not warriors or explorers. They were merchants who had turned profit into power. "Ambassador Reed, the Vrenix Consortium wishes to discuss a business proposition. We understand your species values trade and cooperation. Perhaps we can reach a mutually beneficial arrangement regarding your new technology." Reed deleted the message without responding. He knew what they really wanted. The Vrenix had built their empire on controlling key technologies. They manufactured faster-than-light drives for most species. They provided weapons systems, shield generators, and power cores. If humanity's technology became widespread, their monopolies would collapse. Another message arrived, this one from Tilmara. "Please come to my laboratory. I have discovered something about your ship that you need to see." Reed found her lab deep in the station's research section. Tilmara was surrounded by holographic displays showing sensor data from the battle. She looked exhausted, her antennae drooping. "I have been analyzing the readings from Prometheus," she explained. "The energy signature is unlike anything in our databases. It does not match any known power source. And there is something else. The space-time distortions your ship created. They are similar to anomalies we have detected in deep space. Ancient anomalies dating back millions of years." Reed kept his expression neutral. "What are you suggesting?" "I am suggesting that your technology is not entirely human in origin. You found something. Something old. Something left behind by a civilization that existed before any current species reached the stars." "That is an interesting theory, Director." Tilmara moved closer, lowering her voice. "I am not your enemy, Ambassador. I want to understand, not expose. But you need to know that others are asking the same questions, and some of those others will not be as careful about how they seek answers." Before Reed could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. Red emergency lights pulsed. An automated voice announced, "Security breach detected. All personnel to safe zones immediately." Reed and Tilmara rushed to the command center. Kelnoth was already there, barking orders at security teams. "What happened?" Reed demanded. "Someone tried to hack our main database," Kelnoth explained. "They were searching for information on Earth and the Prometheus. We traced the intrusion to a Vrenix vessel docked at the station. The Vrenix tried to steal our data. Not just your data. They attempted to access all Council records related to Earth, going back to your first contact with galactic civilization. They wanted to know everything about how you developed your technology." Military alerts started coming in from across the galaxy. Unidentified ships were moving toward human space. Not just a few vessels, but hundreds. They were not military craft, but corporate security forces, private mercenary fleets, and intelligence vessels, all heading toward Earth's colonies. Bruce appeared on the communication screen, his face grim. "Ambassador Reed, I am detecting 73 unauthorized vessels entering human-controlled territory. They are not attacking, but they are conducting intensive sensor sweeps of your worlds and facilities. Several have deployed small craft that appear to be attempting to board human stations. Reed felt cold anger building. They are looking for the source of our technology. They want to steal it. The Council cannot officially stop them, Kelnoth admitted. They are in international space. As long as they do not fire weapons, they are technically within their rights to conduct surveillance. And if we defend our facilities, then you would be the aggressors. Other species would have justification to intervene. Reed understood immediately. This was a different kind of attack. The Vreniks could not defeat Prometheus in battle. So they were using economic and political pressure instead. If humanity responded with force, they would look like the threat everyone feared. If they did nothing, every species in the galaxy would soon have access to stolen human technology. His communicator buzzed. Captain Grant from the Prometheus. Ambassador, we are tracking the intruders. I can disable their ships the same way we disabled the Krell fleet. Give the order and we can clear human space in under an hour. Negative, Captain. That is exactly what they want us to do. They are testing how we respond to provocation. Then what do? Let them steal our technology. Reed thought quickly. How many Vreniks vessels are leading this operation? Our intelligence shows 3 Vreniks command ships coordinating the mercenary fleets. They are staying back, using hired proxies to do the actual intrusion. Can you disable just those 3 ships without touching the mercenaries? A pause. Yes. They are in deep space, away from any witnesses. But if we do that, the Vreniks will know we can track and target their vessels anywhere. Let them know. Send a message with your actions. You can reach anyone, anywhere, at any time. Make them understand the consequences of trying to steal from humanity. Understood. Give me 1 hour. Reed turned to Kelnoth. High Arbiter, I am about to share something with the Council that will complicate matters. Humanity is willing to share some of our technology, but only through official channels and only with species we trust. You would share this power. Kelnoth seemed genuinely surprised. Parts of it, the quantum fold drive theory, for example, it would revolutionize travel for everyone, but not weapons, not defense systems. We will help the galaxy move faster and farther, but we will not arm everyone for mutual destruction. Tilmara spoke up. That is wise, but it will not satisfy those who want everything. The Vreniks will see it as an insult. Then the Vreniks will learn that humanity does not respond well to threats or theft. An hour later, news spread across the galaxy. 3 Vreniks command vessels had simultaneously lost all power in deep space. No distress calls, no explosions. They simply went dark. Rescue ships found the crews unharmed but terrified. They reported that a dark human ship had appeared from nowhere, disabled their systems in seconds, and vanished just as quickly. The message was clear. Prometheus could strike anywhere without warning. Earth's technology was not for sale, and attempts to steal it would be met with consequences. The mercenary fleets retreated from human space within hours. But Reed knew this was only the beginning. He had made enemies today, powerful enemies who would not forgive or forget. The Vreniks Consortium had wealth and influence that rivaled entire governments, and now humanity had humiliated them twice, once by refusing their offer, and again by exposing their theft attempt. War was coming, not the kind fought with ships and guns, but the kind fought with money, politics, and sabotage. The kind of war where victory meant survival and defeat meant extinction. Humanity would have to learn a new way to fight. The vote on humanity's council membership was scheduled for 3 days from now. Reed spent those days in constant meetings, answering questions, addressing concerns, and trying to build support. The demonstration had impressed many species, but it had also frightened them. Fear was a poor foundation for trust. On the second day, Tilmara came to him with urgent news. She brought another scientist, a Filgrin named Paul who specialized in security systems. "Someone is trying to kill you," Paul said bluntly. "I found traces of an intrusion in the station's life support network. Someone has been mapping patrol routes, identifying blind spots in surveillance, and studying your daily routine." Reed felt his stomach tighten. "Do we know who?" The intrusion used Vrenix coding protocols, but it was too obvious. Almost like they wanted us to think it was them. "My analysis suggests a professional assassin, someone hired by parties unknown. The Vrenix might be the client, but they are using a proxy." "Can you protect the ambassador?" Tilmara asked. "Not completely. This station has 17,000 inhabitants, too many variables, too many potential attack vectors. My recommendation is that Ambassador Reed returns to Earth immediately." "No," Reed said firmly. "If I leave now, it proves humanity can be intimidated. We stay." "Then at least allow me to increase security," Paul insisted. "I can assign guards, monitor your movements, secure your quarters." "Do what you can, but I will not hide." That evening, the council held a formal reception for all ambassadors. It was meant to be a social event, a chance for species to mingle before the vote. Reed attended, knowing he would be a target for both conversation and possibly something worse. The reception hall was beautiful, decorated with art from dozens of worlds. Servers moved through the crowd offering foods compatible with various biologies. Reed noticed Kelnoth watching him from across the room. The Draventhi leader seemed to be reassessing his opinion of humanity. Bruce approached, his amphibious features arranged in what might have been a smile. "Ambassador Reed, I must admit, your species has surprised us all. The Filgrin Commonwealth would be interested in discussing trade agreements should your council application succeed." "I appreciate that, Coordinator. Humanity values the establishment of friendly relations. Of course, we would particularly like to discuss access to your faster-than-light drive technology. We understand you plan to share it." "In time, yes, through proper channels and with appropriate safeguards." Bruce nodded, but his eyes showed calculation. Everyone wanted something from humanity now. The question was who could be trusted and who was simply trying to get close for their own purposes. Reed excused himself and headed toward the refreshment area. The hallway between the main reception and the dining section was quieter, less crowded. He was halfway through when the lights went out. Emergency power should have activated immediately. It did not. Someone had sabotaged the backup systems. Reed moved quickly, muscle memory from military training taking over. He pressed himself against the wall, making himself a smaller target in the darkness. A sound behind him. Footsteps, too quiet to be casual. Reed spun and threw himself sideways just as something whistled through the space where his head had been. A blade reflecting faint light from emergency markers. The assassin was fast, trained, and equipped with weapons that should not have passed station security. Reed barely dodged the next strike, feeling the blade slice through his jacket. He grabbed a serving tray from a nearby table and used it to deflect the third attack. Then Tilmara burst into the hallway from a side door, wielding some kind of energy weapon. "Get down." Reed dropped. Tilmara fired. The assassin dodged with inhuman speed, but the shot clipped their shoulder. They stumbled, and in that moment of weakness, Paul appeared with a full security team. The assassin realized they were trapped. They dropped their weapon and raised their hands. But before anyone could secure them, the assassin convulsed. Some kind of poison, activated remotely or on a timer. They collapsed, dead before hitting the floor. Reed stood slowly, breathing hard. His jacket was torn and he had a shallow cut on his arm, but he was alive. Did anyone see their face? Paul examined the body carefully. Synthetic skin, voice modulator, false biometric signatures. This person could have been any species. A professional like I suspected. We will need days to identify them. Lights came back on. Other ambassadors began emerging from the reception hall, drawn by the commotion. Kelnoth arrived with his own guards, taking in the scene with sharp eyes. "Ambassador Reed, are you harmed?" "I will live, thanks to Director Tilmara and Coordinator Paul." "This is unacceptable," Kelnoth declared. "An assassination attempt during a council function violates every law we hold sacred. We will investigate immediately." "With respect, High Arbiter, we both know what the investigation will find. The trail will be carefully hidden. The assassin is dead. Whoever hired them made sure there would be no evidence." Kelnoth's expression darkened. "You believe the Vrenix Consortium is behind this?" "I believe someone wants humanity's council application to fail. Someone who sees us as a threat to their power. Whether that is the Vrenix or another party, I cannot say, but the timing is not coincidental." News of the assassination attempt spread quickly. By morning, it dominated every news feed in the galaxy. Reactions were mixed. Some species expressed outrage at the attack. Others suggested Reed had staged it for sympathy. But the effect was undeniable. Suddenly, humanity looked less like a threat and more like a victim. Tilmara visited Reed in the medical bay where doctors treated his wound. "I need to tell you something. When I scanned the assassin's equipment, I found traces of technology that should not exist. The blade they used was coated in a substance that interferes with healing. Very rare, very expensive. Only one manufacturer in the galaxy produces it." "Let me guess, a Vrenix subsidiary." "Exactly. They covered their tracks well, but not perfectly. I have evidence, but it is not conclusive enough to bring formal charges." Reed considered this. "Then we use it differently. We do not accuse them publicly. We let them know privately that we know. Sometimes the threat of exposure is more powerful than the exposure itself." "You are playing a dangerous game, Ambassador." "The galaxy is a dangerous place. Humanity needs to learn how to navigate it without the Prometheus solving every problem. We cannot always rely on superior firepower. Sometimes we need to be smarter, not just stronger." The next day, Reed sent a private message to the Vrenix Consortium leadership. It contained detailed analysis of the assassin's equipment, the poison used, and the financial transactions that funded the operation. He did not accuse them directly. He simply shared the information and ended with a single line: "Humanity values peace, but we will not tolerate threats to our representatives. Choose your next actions wisely." No response came from the Vrenix, but their lobbying against humanity's council application stopped immediately. Their ambassadors withdrew several motions they had planned to introduce. The message had been received and understood. With one day remaining until the vote, Reed finally allowed himself to hope. They had survived military confrontation, corporate espionage, and assassination. Perhaps they could survive politics too. Vote day arrived with unusual quiet. No more assassination attempts, no more corporate espionage. Even the news feeds had calmed, though speculation about the outcome ran wild. Reed stood in his quarters, adjusting his formal attire. Today would determine humanity's place in the galaxy for generations to come. A message came from Captain Grant aboard the Prometheus. "Ambassador, we are ready to intervene if needed. I have the ship positioned within strike range of the station. Just say the word." "Negative, Captain. Today we win or lose on our own merits. The Prometheus has done its job. Now it is my turn to do mine." Reed made his way to the council chamber. The room was packed, every seat filled with representatives eager to witness history. He noticed Tilmara near the front, her antennae moving in patterns he had learned meant encouragement. Bruce sat with the Filgrin delegation, his expression unreadable. Even Drath was present, though the Krell commander refused to meet Reed's eyes. Kelnoth called the session to order. "We gather today to vote on Earth's application for full council membership. Before we proceed, Ambassador Reed has requested an opportunity to address the assembly. The floor is yours, Ambassador. Reed stood and walked to the central platform. He looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of beings from dozens of worlds. Some looked at him with hope, others with fear, a few with barely concealed hostility. Members of the Galactic Council, 3 days ago I stood before you and promised to demonstrate humanity's capabilities. We showed you a ship that represents the peak of human technological achievement, a vessel that can cross vast distances in moments, defend against any attack, and disable threats without killing. Some of you were impressed, others were frightened. All of you are wondering what humanity will do with this power. He paused, letting the words settle. I understand your concerns. You have seen species rise and fall. You have witnessed wars that consumed entire star systems. You have learned to be cautious about newcomers bearing advanced weapons. Your caution is wisdom earned through hard experience. So let me tell you what humanity intends to do. Reed pulled out a small data device and uploaded information to the main display. Technical schematics appeared, showing the basic principles of quantum-fold drive theory. This is the foundation of our faster-than-light travel system. We are sharing it freely with the Council. Any species that wishes to study these principles is welcome to do so. We believe faster travel benefits everyone. We believe knowledge shared creates opportunities for cooperation. Gasps filled the chamber. Several ambassadors started talking at once. Kelnoth raised his hand for silence. However, Reed continued, we will not share weapons technology, not because we wish to maintain an advantage, but because we believe the galaxy needs fewer weapons, not more. The Prometheus exists to protect humanity and, if you allow us to join the Council, to protect our allies, but we will not create an arms race. You expect us to accept this, Bruce called out. You keep the weapons while sharing only what benefits you. No, Coordinator. We share what benefits everyone. Faster travel opens new worlds, new trade routes, new possibilities. More powerful weapons only make it easier to destroy each other. Humanity learned this lesson on our homeworld. We nearly destroyed ourselves several times before we learned wisdom. We hope the galaxy can learn from our mistakes rather than repeating them. Tomara stood. Ambassador Reed, your species has shown remarkable restraint. You disabled the Krell fleet without casualties. You defended against assassination without seeking revenge. You responded to theft attempts with warnings rather than violence. These actions speak louder than words. The Orosian Collective supports humanity's application. One by one, other species began to speak. Some voiced support. Some raised concerns. The debate stretched for hours. Reed answered every question honestly, admitted humanity's limitations, and emphasized their commitment to peace. Finally, Kelnoth called for the vote. All those in favor of granting Earth full Council membership indicate now. The display showed votes appearing in real time. Green for yes, red for no. The count climbed slowly. Green, red, green, green, red. The chamber held its breath. When the final tally appeared, Reed felt relief wash over him. 67% in favor. Not unanimous, but a clear majority. Humanity had won. By the authority vested in me as High Arbiter, Kelnoth announced, I declare Earth's application approved. Welcome to the Galactic Council, Ambassador Reed. The chamber erupted in mixed reactions. Some species applauded. Others sat in stony silence. Drath and the Krell delegation walked out immediately, but the decision was made. Humanity was no longer alone in the galaxy. Tomara approached Reed as the chamber emptied. You did it. Your species is now part of something larger. We could not have succeeded without friends like you, Director. You warned us about threats, stood by us during the assassination attempt, and spoke in our favor when it mattered. I spoke the truth. Your species has potential, great potential, but I must ask you something. The technology you revealed, the quantum-fold drive, It is not the only secret you are keeping, is it? Reed met her eyes. Director, humanity has learned that trust must be earned gradually. We have shared what we believe will help the galaxy. Other secrets, if they exist, will be revealed when the time is right, when we know the galaxy is ready. She clicked her mandibles thoughtfully. The probe. There are more, are there not? More sources of ancient technology scattered across space. If such things existed, they would represent a responsibility too great for any one species. They would need to be protected, studied carefully, and shared only with those who have proven themselves worthy. I understand, and I hope, when humanity is ready to reveal more, that we will have proven ourselves friends rather than threats. I believe you already have. Reed returned to his quarters and sent a message to Earth. Mission accomplished. Humanity is now a full member of the Galactic Council. The Prometheus can return to deep space operations. We have allies now, but also enemies. The real work is just beginning. A response came quickly from General Lane. Well done, Ambassador. Dr. Foster has decoded more of the probe's database. There are 17 additional caches of ancient technology scattered across the galaxy, some in neutral space, some in territory controlled by hostile species. We need to find them before others do. Reed looked out at the stars, somewhere out there. Remnants of a civilization millions of years dead waited to be discovered. Technology that could uplift the galaxy or destroy it. Humanity had proven they could be trusted with power. Now they would have to prove they could use that power wisely. The Prometheus was just the beginning. Humanity had revealed a warship centuries beyond its era, but more importantly, they had revealed something the galaxy had forgotten. That true strength came not from weapons alone, but from the wisdom to use them sparingly. That power meant nothing without the character to wield it responsibly. Ambassador David Reed smiled at his reflection in the window. 50 years of secrecy, 3 days of crisis, one vote that changed everything. Humanity's journey to the stars had truly begun.